Finding that rookie breakout can be the key component into winning your fantasy football championship. Names like Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Kenneth Walker, all from last season were key in winning fantasy football championships. So in today's video, we're going to do a deep dive and explore 3 different rookies that I believe could be league winning for the 2023 fantasy football season. But before we could get into things, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into my top 3 must-draft rookies for the 2023 fantasy football season. I have excluded Bijan Robinson from today's video. He is a first-round draft pick in most fantasy football drafts. On Underdog, he's coming off the board as the running back number 2 in some drafts right now. So seems like everyone's pretty keen on drafting him already. So my number 1 must-draft rookie, must-have rookie is Jahmyr Gibbs, running back of the Detroit Lions. Current Underdog ADP running back 14 at pick 39.3. He was the 12th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, which definitely turned heads as the team just signed David Montgomery, and they also had DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift ultimately gets shipped off to Philadelphia, and now Jahmyr Gibbs has that opportunity to be the running back 1 on the team. Now, in OTAs that are going on right now for the Lions, David Montgomery isn't there. So Jahmyr Gibbs is getting a lot of opportunity to run with the first team offense. And based upon what I've read out of OTAs, Jahmyr Gibbs has looked really good. He played his first 2 years in college at Georgia Tech prior to joining Alabama in 2022 for his junior season. He played in 12 games last year at 20 years old. He had 151 carries for 926 yards, 44 receptions for 444 yards with a 12.8% target share in that Alabama offense. He was a 40-plus target player in his last 2 seasons. He ran a 99th percentile 40-yard dash with a 4.36, 91st percentile speed score on Player Profiler with a 110.1. Now, he is 5'9", 199 pounds. So this guy isn't super tall, and he's not built like Derrick Henry to run a motherfucker over. But ultimately, even though he is a shorter back, he has that incredible speed. Some players that come to mind when you think about small players with good speed, I think about DeAndre Swift, who was just on the Lions, who was also great at pass catching, just like Jahmyr Gibbs, and even though he had an injury-riddled season last year, was a target monster in that offense. I also think about Alvin Kamara. Now, who knows what's going to happen to Alvin Kamara this season, but Alvin Kamara in the past was one of the best running backs in the NFL. And the fact that this team ran to the phone to select Jahmyr Gibbs when they already had DeAndre Swift tells me all I need to know about Jahmyr Gibbs. It is that the Lions, Dan Campbell, heavily believe in Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, is Jahmyr Gibbs going to score 3,000 touchdowns like Jamal Williams last year for the Lions? Probably not, because I think they brought in David Montgomery to be that thumper back on the red zone, right? You get to the 3-yard line, you hand the ball to David Montgomery, he barrels through the offensive line, runs somewhat over on the defense, and runs into the end zone, right? That's what they brought Montgomery in to do. But I think they brought Jahmyr Gibbs in to be an elite pass catcher, a guy that you can hand the ball off to and can run for 75 yards right past everyone because of how fast he is. This is not your old Lions team. This is not the Lions of the past that people like to make fun of, right? This is a legit Lions offense, a playoff team potentially in 2023, and a team that has Jameson Williams suspended for the first 6 games of the season, which makes me think that maybe Jahmyr Gibbs might run out wide during the early games of the season. Now, could they cut back when Jameson Williams comes back? Of course. But I still believe that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a high target player on this offense. I don't really project him to get 12 to 15 carries a game. Don't think he needs that, though. He gets 10 rushes a game, and he's catching a bunch of passes. He's going to be just great for fantasy football. At the RB14 price, that may be a little high for many, but the price on Underdog versus the price in your regular redraft league might be a little bit different, because when I've done a lot of drafts on websites like Fantasy Pros, or when we hop over on Yahoo, ESPN and do a mock draft, Jahmyr Gibbs isn't really running back 14. People still take guys like Najee Harris, Kenneth Walker way over Jahmyr Gibbs. Moving now to my second must-draft rookie, we move to Zach Charbonnet, running back of the Seattle Seahawks, current underdog ADP, running back 32 at pick 102.7. We've mentioned Underdog a bunch in today's video, and they are the sponsor of today's video. If you're brand new to Underdog Fantasy, they are the best place to play best ball this summer, as well as during the NFL season. If you're new to best ball is the best part about fantasy football. It's the draft, and that's it. All you got to do is draft your 18-round team, and that's it. There's no waiver wire, there's no in-season management, and there is no trades. You draft your team, and every single week, Underdog Fantasy puts the highest scores into your lineup. They have the biggest best ball contest ever. $25 to enter, $15 million in total prizes, with $3 million going to first place. And again, I love it so much because you can just do the draft and then forget about it, come back at the end of the season, and potentially have won $3 million. So if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, click on the link in the video description or use promo code NOTORIOUS for a 100% first match deposit bonus up to $100. So you deposit $100, they give you an additional $100. You deposit $50, they give you an additional $50, $25, they give you an additional $25. Again, make sure you click on the link in the video description to activate your offer. Back on into things. Back with Zach Charbonnet, the most recent report is still that Charbonnet and Walker will battle for the #1 running back role in the Seattle Seahawks offense. Zach Charbonnet was picked 53 in the 2023 NFL Draft, so he was a second-round pick. Kenneth Walker, who exploded last season to superstardom for many fantasy football games after Rashad Penny ended up getting hurt, was also a second-round NFL draft pick. So it's not like the team drafted Walker in the first round and are now kind of pigeonholed into playing Walker as the running back #1 all season long. They were drafted in the same exact round. And I think it's entirely possible that this might be a 60-40 offense with Kenneth Walker as the guy early on, and then maybe they kind of shift that to Zach Charbonnet being the guy. He played in 4 years in college, 2 years at Michigan before transferring to UCLA. He played in 10 games in 2022 at UCLA as a 21-year-old, 195 rushes for 1,359 yards, 37 receptions for 321 receiving yards, and an 11.2% target share in that UCLA offense. He had 2 straight seasons of over 1,100 rushing yards at UCLA. He has a 4.53 40-yard dash, which is 71st percentile. He's not as fast as Gibbs, but he's also not super slow. He's 6 foot, 214 pounds. Again, I really do think the Seattle Seahawks offense wants to run the ball, and I think this could end up being a committee that Zach Charbonnet could eventually become the guy. And if there is an injury to Kenneth Walker, Sir Kenneth Walker III, knock on wood, we don't root for injuries, but if there is an injury, Zach Charbonnet looks like one of the premier handcuffs in fantasy football. And you're getting Zach Charbonnet multiple rounds later. He's picked 102. On Underdog, most of the time, you see Walker come off the board in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. But in regular redraft leagues, we are seeing people go a little crazy for Walker, and sometimes he even goes in the 1st or 2nd round. And Charbonnet in those drafts sometimes goes in like the 120s, the 130s. So I am fully happy right now, full fading Kenneth Walker and just drafting Zach Charbonnet later, because maybe Zach Charbonnet can eclipse Kenneth Walker and become the running back 1 on this offense. And again, there's also the injury out. Hey, if Walker gets hurt, Charbonnet could be he will be the clear workhorse, not could be. The other running backs behind Charbonnet, dust. Compared to Charbonnet, he will be the clear lead back if something happens to Kenneth Walker. Final player here. Now, I've heard some people talk about Gibbs, some people talk about Zach Charbonnet, but I haven't heard many people talk about wide receiver Jayden Reed of the Green Bay Packers. Current Underdog ADP wide receiver 70 at pick 157 0.6. He was picked number 50 in the second round of this year's draft, as reported yesterday by Andy Herman of the Packer Report. Jayden Reed is running with the starters in OTAs alongside Christian Watson, my guy, who I mentioned off the top of the video, and Romeo Doubs. He also states that it would appear that the plan for this offense is to start Jayden Reed in the slot, and then Doubs and Watson will work on the outside. Out wide. This sounds very good for potential for Jayden Reed. Now, obviously, a lot of people were in on Doubs last year, me included, and he didn't have all that great of a season. There isn't a crazy amount of depth, in my opinion, at the wide receiver position for the Packers, and while there's a lot of hype about Luke Musgrave, I definitely worry significantly less about Luke Musgrave stealing a bunch of targets compared to Robert Tonyan, who is now on the Packers. Jayden Reed played his first, or is now on the Bears, I apologize. He played his first year at Western Michigan and his final 3 years at Michigan State. In 2022, as a 22-year-old at Michigan State, he played in 11 games, having 55 receptions on 90 targets for 639 yards. He had 11.6 yards per reception, 22% target share, 61.1% catch rate, and 5 receiving touchdowns. Now, Jayden Reed isn't the biggest wide receiver on earth. He's 5'11", 191 pounds, but I do believe that Jordan Love will be giving this guy a bunch of targets. I believe that Jordan Love is a lot better than people give him credit for. Now, is he the next Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers? Probably not, but there's a reason why they drafted him in the first round. Now, obviously, first-round quarterbacks don't always work out. Nudge, nudge, Zach Wilson, now the backup for Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. There's a bunch of names where the quarterback doesn't work out, and they were drafted Josh Rosen in the first fucking round, right? I understand that, but the team drafted him to be the kind of apprentice to Mr. Aaron Rodgers. So now Rodgers is gone. It's Jordan Love time, and I think Jayden Reed is going to start sneaking up draft boards because, again, right now, the rookie fever might not be at its peak, but if we get to training camp in August, we get to preseason, and Jayden Reed catches a fucking missile from Jordan Love and has a nice game, his ADP is going to skyrocket. So I want to get in early on Underdog. Start drafting Jayden Reed now, who I think has the potential to be the number 2 receiver on the team in terms of targets. I think he could out-target a guy like Romeo Doubs, and I think head-to-head, he's probably better if you watch the tape from college than Romeo Doubs. So I'm going all aboard, choo-choo, the Jayden Reed train. So again, my must-have rookies as of right now, it's June 1st. It's the first of the month. We've got a lot more content coming, obviously, as fantasy drafts start to be a little bit more exciting for people late August, early September. But that's why I do the underdog drafts, because you can do them all year long. Again, promo code Notorious, link in the video description. Or you can also just go ahead and type in Notorious when you're on the app or on the website. So I love you guys all so much. I hope you all have a great rest of your guys' day. Let me know down below in the comment section if you have any other rookies that you want to talk about. I love you guys all so much. Hope you have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy.